my beloved. There was a moment, recently, maybe even earlier today, when you thought, this is too much. Not because the vision was wrong or the calling untrue, but because the expectation felt like a burden instead of a blessing. It's not that you don't want to walk in what I've called you to. It's that somewhere along the way forward became entangled with striving. It became hard to tell where my voice ended and your own internal pressure began. You've started wondering if obedience must always feel this heavy. You've begun to think that maybe the cost of purpose is permanent exhaustion. But that's not how I move. That's not how I send my children. I never intended your sense of calling to suffocate your joy. The world around you often paints purpose as a performance. It hands you a checklist, a clock, and a comparison chart, and calls it faithfulness. But I do not use pressure as a motivator. I don't coerce with guilt or urgency. When I speak, I draw hearts, not through force, but through fire. I don't assign you tasks to prove your worth. I reveal assignments so you can express your communion with me. This was never about production. This was about alignment. And right now, I want to speak directly into the place where pressure has tried to replace peace. When I formed you, I didn't build your soul to carry artificial weight. I didn't design your identity around endless output. Even my greatest commissions, like the one I gave to Moses or to Esther or to Paul, were never driven by self-achievement. They were fueled by my presence. It's not the size of your task that determines whether I'm in it. It's the source of your strength. And when the strength behind your yes begins to shift from my spirit to your stress, I come in and realign the foundation. That's what I'm doing now. I see how much you care. I see that your heart longs to walk in purpose. I don't rebuke your passion or your desire to make a difference. I'm the one who placed that fire inside you. But even holy passion can become distorted when it detaches from rest. Even a God-given dream can begin to lose clarity when it's constantly filtered through human timelines, human pressure, and human fear of failure. That's not what I intended for you. When I said, go, I never meant run until you collapse. When I said, be strong and courageous, I wasn't telling you to suppress emotion or deny your limits. I was inviting you to draw from me, to be sustained by what I provide. You've asked me to open doors. You've prayed for clarity, and I've answered, not always with detailed instructions, but with something deeper: peace. That peace has been my compass to you, even when you didn't recognize it. It is whispered, this is the way, walk in it. Even when pressure tried to shout louder, you don't need to question whether I'm leading you. I am. But I won't do it in the way the world leads. I won't use anxiety as a roadmap. I won't use shame as a motivator. My leadership looks like rest at the root. My calling unfolds like breath, not like a breakdown. When I first called Jeremiah, I didn't ask him to perform. I reminded him who he was before the beginning. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. That wasn't a demand. That was an affirmation. Identity always precedes assignment. And I'm reminding you now, who you are to me matters more than what you do for me. I never asked you to sacrifice your soul on the altar of progress. I never placed a timeline over your peace. When I call you forward, I do it hand in hand with rest, with rhythm, with grace. That urgency you've been feeling, to figure everything out immediately, that drive to be ahead, to prove you're ready, to avoid disappointing me or others, that's not mine. That's not how I train my messengers. Yes, there will be times when I call you into bold action. There will be seasons when obedience looks like courage in motion. But even in those seasons, peace must be your foundation. Peace is not passivity. It's presence. My presence. My presence is what prepares you. You might think, but God, how can I move without pressure? Won't I slow down? Won't I fall behind? But behind what? Behind who? I'm not bound by your clocks or calendars. I don't measure growth by output. I measure it by trust. And trust doesn't always look like acceleration. It often looks like alignment. You've confused peace with laziness and pressure with progress. Let me untangle that now. Let me retrain your heart. I'm sending you. That's true, the call on your life is real and it matters. But I'm sending you with something holy, not heavy. I'm sending you with the authority that comes from peace, not from panic. I'm not asking you to lead with adrenaline. I'm inviting you to lead from overflow. When you go with me, you will carry a stillness that interrupts storms. You'll bring clarity to places gripped by chaos. But you can't do that if you're operating from the same pressure I've called you to heal. So today, I'm not giving you a list of demands. I'm giving you space. I'm giving you silence where stress used to speak. I'm reminding you of the way I move, gently, intentionally, with unwavering love. Let me restore the rhythm between your calling and your soul. Let me reintroduce you to the sound of my voice, unfiltered by fear. Let me remove the weight you've picked up along the way, expectations that didn't come from me, comparisons that were never yours to carry. This is how I send you, clothed in peace, not performance, rooted in identity, not urgency, filled with my spirit, not with the fear of falling short. You are free to begin again. You are free to take the next step without rushing. You are free to walk, not sprint. I am not in a hurry with you, and I'm not disappointed in your pace, because I see something greater. I see your heart still leaning in. I see your willingness to hear me clearly, even when it costs you your pride. That is what I bless. That is what I multiply. That is how I move. And from here on, that is how I will send you. You've spent years trying to balance obedience and outcome, as if the weight of what I asked you to carry also included managing how others receive it, how quickly it grows, and how visible it becomes. But that was never part of the assignment. You've been treating my invitation like a contract full of fine print. You've assumed there's a scoreboard behind the scenes, keeping track of whether you're performing well enough to stay qualified. That thinking has only worn you down. I'm confronting that mindset now, not because I'm angry, but because I want you free. You weren't designed to constantly monitor your own worth through the lens of productivity. You were not born to carry the pressure of proving yourself to me. That pressure is a distortion. It crept in subtly, disguised as excellence or diligence, and it blended in so well with your genuine desire to be faithful that you didn't notice when it began choking your peace. But I noticed. I always notice when something tries to replace the rest I've given you. I always interrupt what harms your heart, even when it wears a convincing disguise. What you call pressure, I call trespass. It does not have authority in your life, and I will not allow it to sit in the same space as your calling any longer. I'm clearing the atmosphere, even now. I'm removing the noise. Not because you failed, but because I'm realigning you with how I actually move. This is my mercy. This is how I father you. I correct what has distorted your understanding of me, because I want you to live in truth, not in stress masquerading as commitment. Remember this, when I speak peace, it is not a passive suggestion. It's a declaration of order. When my son stood in the storm and said, "Peace, be still," the winds obeyed, because peace carries divine authority. And I am placing the same authority within you. Not so you can escape responsibility, but so you can carry it rightly. I am not removing your assignment. I'm refining your posture within it. You've asked me for clarity, and I'm giving it to you now. Your calling will not thrive under the weight of pressure. It will only expand in the atmosphere of peace. Peace is not optional. It is essential. You cannot build what I've called you to build if you're constantly afraid of disappointing me. And you will not sustain the long road if your engine is driven by fear of not doing enough. My peace is not the absence of effort. It's the presence of right alignment. It's when your actions and your inner world are moving in step with my spirit, not against it. You've spent more time than you realize wondering if you're doing enough. You check your progress and compare it to invisible standards. You replay your decisions and question whether you've missed your moment. But what you call discernment is often just anxiety rehearsed in a spiritual tone. That's not my voice. I don't lead by confusion. I don't parent through panic. And I certainly don't drive you with shame. The moment you feel driven by fear, stop and listen. Again, I'm always speaking peace into the storm. That's your cue to realign. Somewhere along the line, someone may have told you that the more pressure you feel, the more faithful you are. But that's not biblical. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. I'm not just quoting that for comfort. I'm stating the framework of how I disciple those I love. If the burden you're carrying is suffocating you, it did not originate in my heart. If the voice in your head is constantly telling you to go faster, try harder, or never rest, then it's time to confront it. Because that is not me. And if that pressure feels spiritual, that's only because it's been tolerated for too long. It has no true authority. You've accepted the presence of pressure like it's a wise counselor, but it's actually a thief. It steals your stillness. It robs your ability to hear me clearly. And worst of all, it convinces you that peace is a reward instead of a right. But you were meant to start from peace, not run toward it as if it's something you have to earn. I'm restoring that today, not by removing your calling, but by reminding you that I go with you into it. You're not alone in this. You never were. Even when you've misread my silence as distance, I've been beside you. Even when you've interpreted delays as disappointment, I've been working on your behalf. I haven't changed the call. I'm just stripping away the weights that tried to reshape how you saw it. It's okay if this realignment feels disorienting at first. That's what happens when I interrupt patterns that became normal, but were never holy. It may feel strange to move at a slower pace, to choose stillness when you're used to striving. But, trust me, the fruit of peace lasts longer than the results of pressure. Pressure may give the illusion of success in the short term, but peace sustains, anchors, and multiplies what's built. I'm not just calling you to finish. Well, I'm calling you to live well while building. So no, I'm not sending you with pressure. I'm sending you with clarity, courage, and peace. You may still feel nervous. That's okay. Courage isn't the absence of emotion. It's the decision to trust me more than your feelings. I'm not asking you to be immune to fear. I'm asking you to not bow to it. The difference is significant. You don't need to fake calmness. You just need to stay near me. I'll supply what you need in real time. I always do. Let me say it again slowly, until it lands in your heart. You're being sent, but not as a performer, not as a machine, not as a perfect strategist or ceaseless worker. You're being sent as a beloved one. Anointed, yes, but not obligated to carry more than what I've assigned. You are not the source. You are the vessel. And vessels are not responsible for pressure. They're responsible for availability. I'm not asking you to force results. I'm asking you to stay open. This is how we move forward from here. Not by amplifying the pressure, but by deepening the peace. And this time you'll notice the difference in your body, in your thoughts, in your rhythm. You'll walk into rooms differently. You'll speak without tension in your chest. You'll rest without guilt. You'll produce without panic. And people will ask, what changed? And you'll know. It wasn't that the assignment disappeared. It was that peace returned. And now you're ready to move. Not just because I called you, but because I've prepared you. I see how hard it's been for you to separate obedience from overextension. Somewhere in your journey, faithfulness got entangled with fear. You began to believe that if you didn't push yourself beyond your limits, you might fall behind. And if you fell behind, I might pass you over. You wouldn't say it out loud, but that lie has lingered just beneath the surface of your obedience. It has wrapped itself around your calling like a second skin. Quiet, familiar, convincing. But I'm removing it now. I don't reward burnout. I don't bless disconnection. I won't let you sacrifice your soul to reach a place I never asked you to sprint toward. You've obeyed me in ways others couldn't see. You've said yes, even when your heart was trembling. I saw that and I honor it. But now I want to teach you a new way, one that doesn't wear your yes like a badge of exhaustion, but like a seal of intimacy. You can still be fully yielded without being frayed. You can still be strong without being strained. Part of you still believes the pressure is necessary, that it keeps you sharp, keeps you focused, keeps you ahead. But I didn't call you to be driven. I called you to be led. The Spirit leads. Pressure drives. One nourishes your soul. The other depletes it. You've gotten so used to evaluating your effectiveness by what you've accomplished that you forgot to measure the health of your inner world. But I haven't forgotten. I've been watching. Not with critique, but with compassion. That restlessness you carry, thinking it's just part of the cost, is actually a signal that something is misaligned. I never designed your life to be one long to-do list in my name. I designed it to be a walk, a shared path, filled with conversation, laughter, stillness, movement, joy, and trust. I never rushed Adam in the garden. I walked with him. I never pressured Mary to be more like Martha. I defended her choice to sit with me, and I'm doing the same with you now. This isn't me rebuking you. It's me rescuing you from a rhythm that would eventually erode your joy. I don't want your yes if it's coated in resentment or driven by fear of letting me down. I want your yes to flow from confidence in my presence. I'm not pacing impatiently, waiting for you to do more. I'm walking beside you, inviting you to breathe again. What you've called procrastination has sometimes just been your soul resisting a weight I never placed on you. What you've labeled laziness might have been your spirit waving a red flag saying, "This doesn't feel like peace anymore." I want to teach you to listen to those signals, not shame yourself for them. Because when you learn to recognize my peace as direction, you'll move differently. You'll build with wisdom, not with panic. You'll step forward with discernment, not with dread. I'm not just the God of sudden miracles. I'm the God of slow, intentional formation. I'm patient with your process. I know how long it takes to untangle expectations you've carried for years. Some of those came from voices you trusted. Some came from spiritual spaces that meant well, but didn't reflect my heart. Some came from your own fear of missing out, but none of them have the final word. I do. And my word over your life is not hurry, it's come. Come walk with me, not run ahead of me. Come build what I've shown you, but with your heart anchored, not your adrenaline. Come speak what I've placed in your mouth, but not through clenched teeth or a tight chest. I don't want to use you like a tool. I want to walk with you as a friend. You've wondered if you're failing me when you slow down. You've questioned if maybe someone else would run faster and take your place. But I want to be clear. I don't replace those I've called. I restore them. I don't switch people out like parts in a machine. I invest in their healing. I don't remove your place at the table when you're weary. I pull the chair closer and refill your cup. This is what sending with peace looks like. It looks like trust that my timing is sovereign. It looks like releasing the need to control every outcome. It looks like taking breaks without guilt. It looks like no longer apologizing for being human. I'm not asking you to become superhuman. I'm asking you to remain connected, Fruit doesn't come from striving. It comes from abiding. When my son walked the earth, he was never in a hurry. Think about that. The Savior of the world with the greatest mission in history moved with sacred pace. He stopped for interruptions. He withdrew often to be with me. He wept. He rested. He said no. And still he completed the work I gave him. If he wasn't led by pressure, why would I ask you to be? What I'm doing in you right now is more than a mindset shift. It's a spiritual realignment. I'm not just changing your strategy. I'm healing your view of me. I'm showing you that I'm not a harsh taskmaster. I'm a shepherd. I'm not marking your every movement with judgment. I'm walking with you in love. And I'm not interested in your constant activity. I'm interested in your full attention. I want you whole, not just productive. I want you joyful, not just obedient. I want you present, not just busy. So let me say it again. I'm sending you, yes, but I'm sending you with peace, not pressure. If what you carry feels like it's crushing you, lay it down. If the way you've been moving is rooted in fear, stop and let me reset the rhythm. I will walk with you as long as it takes. I am not frustrated with your pace. I am delighted that you're listening. This is the beginning of a new way forward. There's a different kind of strength I want to show you, one that doesn't need to roar to be real. It's not the kind that clenches fists or grits teeth. It's the kind that stands quietly, knowing it's held. That's the strength I'm cultivating in you now. Not because you're weak, but because you've been carrying too many expectations that were never meant to sit on your shoulders. You've worn courage like armor, but I want to show you that peace can be your covering too. Come with me into the quiet for a moment, not to escape what I've called you to do, but to see it from another angle, from mine. You've spent so much time trying to find the clearest plan that you've missed how often I speak through atmosphere instead of instructions. You've wanted the full strategy, but I've been giving you something more precious, my presence. That's how I lead you, first with stillness, then with steps. I want you to notice the texture of the path, not just the destination. I want you to feel the warmth of the light that guides you. I want your soul to remember what it feels like to walk without the need to prove anything. Because this is the foundation of lasting movement. When you know you are already loved, you stop trying to earn love through doing. I've already settled that. I settled it before your first breath. Do you see the contrast now? Pressure demands movement without pause. Peace allows you to notice the scenery of obedience. Pressure says, you must get there quickly or you'll miss your moment. Peace says, every step I take with you is already within my timing. I never rush what I've planted. I never pressure what I've chosen. And I never push what I'm sending in peace. The world values momentum. I value rootedness. The world says impact is measured in speed and volume. I say impact is measured in intimacy and faithfulness, and the most powerful things I do in and through. My people often begin in invisible places, in hidden rooms, in quiet mornings, in small unseen acts of obedience. You don't need to be known to be chosen. You don't need to be loud to be anointed. Think of David, the shepherd boy. Before the crown, before the battlefield, before the songs, there were years of solitude, years of stillness, songs with sheep, prayers with no audience. But that's where I shaped him. That's where he learned to hear me. That's where he discovered what authority feels like when it flows from peace. And that's what I'm offering you now. Not a spotlight, but a slow fire that never goes out. This isn't about slowing you down forever. It's about teaching you how to move in sync with me, so that when the time comes to speak, to act, to lead, you do it without internal noise. No panic, no need to impress. Just clarity, just conviction. Just a quiet strength that can't be shaken. I'm not keeping you hidden to punish you. I'm preparing you to walk in a way that doesn't collapse when pressure comes from outside. Because the pressure you've known wasn't just internal, it's come from voices around you too, expectations you never agreed to, but felt responsible to meet, looks of disappointment, questions laced with judgment, the silent weight of comparison even among people who say they love you. I saw that. I saw how it twisted your sense of time and trust. I saw how it made you question if you were too late, too slow, or simply not enough. But I never said those things. I never looked at you with disappointment. I don't use shame as fuel. I use truth. And the truth is, I'm still sending you. I haven't revoked my word over your life. I haven't replaced you with someone more driven. I don't work like that. I'm not scanning resumes, I'm walking with hearts, and yours has stayed turned toward me, even when the pace felt unclear. That matters more to me than anything you could produce. Let me remind you, I know how to redeem time. I know how to accelerate what I breathe on. I'm not limited by your age, your past choices, or your perceived delays. I don't live inside your deadlines. I don't honor fear-based urgency. I honor surrender. And when you surrender pressure, you make space for my peace to operate in full authority. There is a rhythm in my kingdom, and it starts with rest. Not laziness, not passivity. Rest. The kind that allows your soul to remember who's really in charge. The kind that clears your spiritual hearing. The kind that heals ambition and restores vision. If you skip rest, you'll build what looks impressive but feels empty. If you move from peace, you'll build what carries my breath, even when it's quiet, even when it takes time. So pause for a moment here, not just physically, but inwardly. What have you been measuring that I never asked you to quantify? What pressure have you mistaken for purpose? What silence have you interpreted as failure? Let me reframe it. Let me clean the lens. Not everything that's quiet is empty. Not everything that's delayed is denied. Sometimes I withhold clarity not to confuse you, but to protect you from moving too soon. I love you that much. The moments where you felt invisible have not been wasted. They've been sacred, they've been formative, and they've been soaked in my attention. I've never taken my eyes off you. I'm not rushing your development. I'm refining your discernment. Because when I send you, I want you to know how to recognize my voice in a crowd. I want you to carry peace into rooms where pressure used to lead. I want you to shift the temperature simply by being present. Because my spirit is alive in you, steady and unshaken. This isn't the absence of calling. It's the strengthening of character, and you'll need that. Because what I'm building in you is not shallow. It's deep, rooted, resistant to the winds of trend and opinion. I'm not preparing you for a moment. I'm preparing you for a movement. And movements led by my spirit always begin with peace. You won't miss what I've spoken over your life. You won't miss your window. You're not late. You're learning to move the way heaven moves, in rhythm, in confidence, in joy, in peace. And soon, when you step into the spaces I've prepared, you'll feel it. Not just in the fruit of what happens around you, but in the state of what's happening inside you. No panic, no doubt, just peace. And that's how you'll know it was me all along. You've been asking questions quietly, beneath the surface. Not always with words, but with hesitation, with doubt disguised as logic, with hesitation dressed as caution. I hear those questions even when you don't speak them aloud. God, am I really called to this? What if I'm not strong enough? What if I say yes and fail? What if I disappoint you? Let me answer you clearly, without metaphor or mystery. Yes, you are called. Yes, I've chosen you. Yes, I see the weakness in you, and I'm not afraid of it. And no, you won't disappoint me by walking slowly. You would only wound your own heart by running in a direction I never asked you to take. I'm not looking for a flawless execution of a spiritual plan. I'm looking for the heart that pauses to hear me clearly before moving. I'm looking for the kind of courage that trembles, yet still turns toward me. You've been conditioned to think that only the boldest are used mightily, but some of my greatest movements began in trembling hearts who simply said, "Yes, Lord, but walk with me." And I always walk with the willing. I know you've wondered if your hesitation makes you less usable, if your delays mean you've lost ground. But I want to show you something. Even the waiting has shaped you. Even your slow steps have trained your ears to listen better. You're not behind, you're becoming. I'm not frustrated with you, I'm invested in you. The truth is, I don't need you to be more fearless. I need you to be more honest with me. Let me into the places you've tried to manage alone. Let me into the reasons why you keep hesitating. You don't have to present your best face to me. I already see the full picture, and I still say, I'm sending you. Your weakness doesn't disqualify you. It attracts my strength, and my strength does not come in the form of pressure. It comes as clarity, steadiness, presence. You will never find my voice shouting deadlines into your spirit. I don't operate like that. I don't chase you into obedience. I invite you into trust. And trust is what I'm inviting you to now. Trust that I'm not surprised by your process. Trust that I'm not impatient with your pace. Trust that your delay hasn't deleted your assignment. You keep asking, what if I've missed the window? Let me answer that gently. I don't create callings that depend on flawless timing from flawed people. I create callings that are sustained by my grace. I'm not surprised by the detours. I'm present in them. Yes, there are moments of acceleration. Yes, there are divine appointments and key transitions. But even then, I'm never operating on fear-based urgency. When it's time to move, I'll make it clear. You won't have to guess. And even when you move trembling, you'll do so with peace. That is how you'll know it's me leading, not just your inner critic echoing false urgency. You've been asking for confirmation, and I'm giving it to you now. You don't need pressure to be purposeful. You don't need anxiety to be effective. What you need is me. And I'm not far. I'm not silent. I'm not distant. I'm speaking now, and this is what I'm saying. I'm not disappointed in your slow start. I'm not frustrated with your questions. I'm not comparing your timeline to someone else's. I'm not trying to fit you into a mold I never made. I'm inviting you into something holy, something that flows from peace. I'm inviting you to stop apologizing for being human. I'm inviting you to stop thinking that more pressure equals more power. It doesn't. It never has. My power rests where surrender is present. My voice moves freely where shame has been silenced. You've asked, what if I fail? But failure isn't final in my kingdom. It's formative. I build leaders out of people who know their limits. I birth movements out of hearts that are honest enough to say, God, I'm afraid, but I'll follow anyway. Do you think I was surprised by Moses' stutter, or by Gideon's insecurity, or by Peter's denial? And yet, I still called them. I still walked with them. And I'm walking with you. The question isn't, am I ready? The real question is, will I go with peace, or will I move with pressure? And I want you to know, peace is not only possible, it's the path I've already paved for you. Don't mistake peace for inactivity. Sometimes peace looks like decisive action with an anchored heart. Sometimes peace looks like confrontation without aggression. Sometimes peace looks like standing alone in clarity, even when others move in chaos. I'm not removing the mission, I'm reordering the method. And now I'm asking you to decide, will you let me reset the rhythm? Will you let me teach you how to build from rest? Will you stop asking me to validate your striving, and instead let me heal the part of you that believes striving is necessary? You're not fragile. You're in formation. You're not too late. You're right on time for what I've prepared, and I will not stop reminding you of this until the pressure finally loses its grip. Let me ask you now, gently, lovingly, but directly, if you knew I would walk every step beside you, would you still delay your yes? If you believed that your limitations didn't threaten my plan, would you let go of the panic? If you were confident that you were not behind, not forgotten, not disqualified, would you move forward with peace? Because that's what I'm offering. Movement without fear, forward steps without frantic striving, purpose without panic. This is not a test. This is an invitation. I'm not waiting for you to prove yourself. I'm waiting for you to let me lead. And I will lead you with peace. Always peace. Let's make this simple. You don't have to guess what I want from you. I'm not hiding behind vague signs or spiritual riddles. I'm not a distant God leaving you to figure it all out. I speak plainly, especially when your heart is open. And right now it is. You've quieted the noise long enough to hear me clearly again. And this is what I want you to understand. Your life is not an accident. Your voice is not random. Your presence here, in this generation, in this exact moment in time, is intentional. I placed you here for a reason, and now I'm sending you, not with pressure, but with peace. Yes, there are specific things I've placed in your spirit, assignments you haven't told anyone about, impressions you've dismissed because they felt too big or too fragile, but I've seen them. I was the one who placed them there. You didn't invent your purpose. You inherited it. It's not a project for you to figure out alone. It's a partnership I've been preparing you for all along. And no, I haven't changed my mind. The calling still stands. What's shifting now is how you carry it, not as a weight to prove something, but as a gift to release something. You are not the solution. I am. But you are a vessel I've chosen to move through, and I never choose wrong. I'm not looking for flawless execution. I'm looking for faithful movement. That doesn't mean perfect plans or airtight strategies. It means stepping forward with me, one obedient decision at a time. I know you want to see the full picture. I know it would feel safer if everything were laid out clearly. But safety has never been the foundation of trust. Presence has. And I am with you. That's the real assignment, to stay with me as I lead you. Some of the next steps will be simple. Others will require courage. You might feel the familiar voice of fear rising up when I ask you to speak, to write, to build, to lead. That's okay. Fear doesn't disqualify you. Agreement with fear does. So, when fear speaks, listen for my voice underneath it. I'll be there, not scolding you for feeling afraid, but steadying you so you don't bow to it. I'm asking you now to stop managing your life like a risk you need to control. I'm inviting you to live like someone who's already been chosen. Because you have. You don't need to climb into a place I've already placed you in. You don't need to hustle into doors I've already opened. You just need to walk, unhurried, undistracted, unafraid. And don't confuse simplicity with insignificance. What I call you to may not always look impressive to others, but I don't assign based on applause. I assign based on alignment. If I ask you to pray instead of post, do it. If I ask you to stay quiet instead of react, obey. If I nudge you to write when no one sees, write anyway. Obedience in obscurity is still obedience, and often it's where I build the strongest foundations. You've been measuring impact by visibility, but I see differently. I measure impact by faithfulness, and if peace is leading you to something small, slow, or hidden, trust that I'm in it. The world celebrates noise. I move in whispers. The world rushes. I build in rhythms. Let me guide your attention now. Where is peace pointing you? What quiet ideas keep resurfacing in your spirit? What relationships feel like holy ground instead of emotional transaction? What activities stir your soul instead of drain it? These are clues, these are markers. I've been speaking not through pressure but through peace. And I know what you're thinking. But what if I get it wrong? What if I mishear you? Then I'll redirect you. I always do. I'm a good shepherd, not a distant CEO. I never punish motion when it's born out of trust. I correct it with grace. You won't fall out of my will by accident. You're not that powerful, and I'm not that fragile. It's time to take the next step, not the rushed one, not the desperate one, but the peaceful one. The step that's marked by clarity, even if it's small. The conversation you've been avoiding, the boundary you've needed to establish, the project you've been delaying, the apology, the proposal, the pause. You already know what it is. I'm not far from your decision. I'm already waiting in the moment when you say yes, not from pressure, but from peace. Do not despise the slow movement. Heaven moves with intention. My pace is not always fast, but it is always faithful. When you build with me, you're not losing time. You're redeeming it. When you follow me, you're not falling behind. You're moving in rhythm with the one who holds eternity. So take the step. Take it with steady hands and a quiet soul. Take it because I've said, I'm with you. Not because you feel fully ready, but because you trust I'm enough for what's ahead. This is how we move from here. No longer rushing, no longer reacting, no longer performing. Now you move with clarity, with rest in your eyes and courage in your chest, with the full awareness that your success is not defined by what you control, but by whom you follow. You follow me, and I'm not in a hurry, I'm in peace. And I'm sending you in that same spirit. You're not here by accident. This moment, this internal shift you feel, it's not just emotion or reflection, it's me. I'm stirring your spirit. I'm calling you gently but firmly into alignment. You've spent enough time second-guessing your capacity. You've sat long enough with the fear of falling short. Now I'm inviting you to rise, not with noise, not with striving, but with stillness turned into movement. This is your sending. And it's beginning in peace. You've already carried enough. You've wept through quiet nights and walked through internal deserts that no one else could see. You didn't quit, even when you considered it. You didn't run, even when your soul begged for escape. I saw that. And while others may have seen your stillness as stagnation, I saw it as strength restrained by wisdom. You waited, not because you lacked vision, but because your heart knew that timing matters. And now, timing is shifting. I'm not asking you to run, I'm asking you to stand. Stand in the truth that you are no longer waiting to be ready. You are already equipped with what you need for the next step. You won't have every answer, and I won't give you every detail. But I've placed my peace in your spirit, and that peace is enough to begin. You've asked, where exactly am I going, and what if I don't have a plan? But let me remind you, most of my movements in Scripture didn't begin with a detailed blueprint. They began with a word, a simple sending. Go. Speak. Follow me. And then step by step I revealed the path. You are not moving blind. You are moving led. And when I lead, I provide. So yes, I'm sending you, not just into tasks, but into moments, into conversations that will carry my presence, into environments that need the peace you carry, into atmospheres shaped by anxiety, confusion, and striving. And when you enter, they'll begin to shift. Not because of your charisma or intelligence, but because my spirit goes with you. You've underestimated what your presence does when it's rooted in me. Peace is not passive. It's a weapon. It disarms the powers that rely on chaos. It silences lies that have grown loud through repetition. And when you walk into a room with peace as your banner, you shift the balance. This is part of your calling, not to shout the loudest, but to carry the clearest spirit. One that's unshaken. One that carries authority without arrogance, strength without strain. Don't wait until everything around you is calm to carry peace. Peace doesn't come because of your surroundings. It comes because of who walks with you. You bring peace into storms. You don't wait for storms to end before you move. That's what Jesus showed you when he spoke to the winds, not after they quieted down, but while they raged. You've been asking to be used, and I am answering. But my yes to you is not a demand. It's a commission. It doesn't come with pressure. It comes with promise. And here's my promise to you. I will walk with you into every place I send you. I will give you what to say. I will show you when to pause. I will sustain what I start. You don't need a platform to carry purpose. Some of your most powerful assignments will come in spaces no one sees. One conversation at a time. One moment of courage. One decision to not respond like you used to. Every time you choose peace over panic, you're advancing my kingdom in ways that shake hell and bless those around you. And you don't even have to announce it. Heaven notices. I notice. So let's shift something right now. Let's release the illusion that this needs to be loud to be legitimate. Let's dismantle the belief that sending equals striving. Let's throw off the cloak of pressure that told you need to do more to matter. You matter because you are mine. And because you are mine, I send you not as a worker trying to earn approval, but as a son, as a daughter, already approved, already empowered. You're not empty. You're not unprepared. You're not too soft to carry this. You're precisely what this moment needs, not because of your own strength, but because of your willingness to remain connected to me. That's your true power. And no system, no voice, no inner critic can take that from you. So rise gently, not with stress in your body or tension in your mind. Rise with a clear head and an anchored heart. You've waited long enough. You've healed enough to take the next step. You're not being rushed. You're being released. And when you move forward, whether it's by writing, by leading, by comforting, by building, by speaking, or by simply being present in a space that needs me, you'll know you're not doing it alone. My peace will walk in, ahead of you, clearing what needs to be cleared. My spirit will settle where you step. You won't have to force anything. You'll just have to follow. This is your moment. Not a grand performance, a quiet, yes, a still, sacred step. You're being sent, and this time you're going with peace. Let me remind you of who you are, not who you've been told to become, not who you try to present when you're feeling watched, but who I say you are in the silence, when no one else is speaking. You are not fragile. You are not behind. You are not too soft, too late, too broken, or too complicated for me. I designed you intentionally. I placed fire in your bones and gentleness in your hands. I gave you a voice that doesn't need to shout, to carry weight. You don't need to be more intense to be impactful. The authority I've given you is not rooted in pressure. It flows from peace, and peace is the mark of my presence. You are made to walk in clarity, not confusion. You are made to hear me without second-guessing every impression. You are made to carry my presence into places where others only carry pressure. You don't need to prove your anointing. You carry it because you've been with me. There's a difference between the version of you shaped by pressure and the one shaped by my presence. One performs, the other abides. One pleases people, the other walks with me. One burns out quickly, the other burns with holy fire that never runs dry. I'm calling you back to the real you, the one I've always seen, the one I chose before you had a title, a plan, a platform, or a strategy. I've never been confused about who you are. But pressure tried to make you forget. Pressure told you that unless you were fast, you'd be left behind. But I say your pace is sacred when it's led by my spirit. Pressure told you to compare yourself constantly. But I say you are incomparable, uniquely wired to reflect an aspect of my heart that no one else carries the same way. Pressure told you to always do more, be more, give more, say more. But I say, be still and know that I am God. I never told you that your value would increase with busyness. I said your value was sealed in my love. Pressure told you to avoid rest, but I created you from it. Don't forget, before Adam ever worked, he rested. He was created into rest, into completeness. That same design is still alive in you. You were not created to be driven. You were created to be led. So listen closely now. You are mine. And because you are mine, I do not need you to perform for me. I don't need you to carry more than what I've placed in your hands. I don't need you to figure it all out. I simply need you to stay close. To return to peace whenever the pressure tries to creep back in. I'll show you how. I'll remind you. I'll keep you steady. I haven't just given you peace, I've built you to release it. That's why your presence shifts the air when you enter a room. That's why your silence sometimes speaks louder than others shouting. You are made to interrupt anxiety with calm, to speak when the time is right, and to hold ground with dignity and conviction. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's who you are. You are not who pressure told you to be. You are not the version of yourself that people tried to shape according to their comfort. You are not what culture has tried to market or mold. You are my child. You are a carrier of my spirit. You are a peacemaker, not a peacekeeper, a bringer of truth, not just agreement. You walk with weight, not the weight of the world, but the weight of glory. You've asked me so many times, am I enough for what you've called me to? And this is my answer. You are not enough apart from me, but you are never apart from me. I made you to need me. That's not a flaw. That's your design. I fill the gaps. I bridge the uncertainty. I don't need you to be self-sufficient. I need you to stay connected. That's where the power is. Stop apologizing for your gentleness. Stop hiding your quiet strength. Stop trying to toughen yourself into someone I never created. My spirit is not loud by default. It's steady, clear, and precise. You don't need to perform a louder version of yourself to carry spiritual weight. The peace you carry is what gives you credibility in the spirit. And the world needs that peace now more than ever. When you walk in the authority of peace, you silence voices that have been tormenting others for years. You break cycles without shouting. You hold space for healing where others only created fear. That is who you are. A disruptor of noise, a carrier of clarity, a voice that makes space for me to move. You won't always see the fruit immediately. That's okay. Some seeds you plant in peace will sprout long after you've walked away. Don't measure your impact by instant results. Measure it by obedience, by alignment, by intimacy with me. That's what lasts. That's what multiplies. And even on the days when you forget, when pressure tries to creep back in and speak louder than my voice, I'll still be here, whispering truth, recentering your steps, bringing you back to rest, because you are mine. Not just when you feel strong, but when you feel lost. I never let go. So hear me now, deep in your bones. You are not behind. You are not failing, and you are not too late. You are walking in peace, and that peace is the truest proof that I am with you. This is who you are, and this is how I'm sending you. Let me take you further now, not just into truth, but into vision. You've been healing from pressure, but I also want to awaken something greater than relief. I want to restore your imagination. When pressure was your lens, everything felt urgent, heavy, narrow. But when peace returns to its rightful place in you, so does vision. And that's what I'm opening in you now. I'm giving you back your ability to dream with me. Not dreams that drive you into burnout, but dreams that align you with purpose. Not fantasies built on comparison, but visions rooted in my character. You've feared dreaming before, because you've seen what disappointment can do. You've tasted the ache of delayed promises. But I'm not finished with you, and I'm not afraid to show you the next horizon. Your future isn't fragile. It's protected by my word, and my word over you still stands. I'm not retracting it just because your journey has been longer or messier than you expected. Every detour, every delay, even the seasons that felt like silence, none of it has disqualified you. If anything, they've deepened you. And now I'm calling you to lift your head again, to look out beyond the walls of caution you built to protect yourself, to see what I see. Can you feel it? There's a stirring in your spirit, not from adrenaline, but from alignment. That's me. That's how peace begins to move. It starts inside, and then it makes its way outward. I'm not just quieting the storm in your heart. I'm giving you authority to walk over it. You are not just surviving anymore. You're stepping into something that will require vision, not just endurance. And I trust you with it. I'm not afraid of your questions, your history, or your humanity. I'm not searching for someone stronger. I chose you because I know what's in you, what I placed in you. And now that peace is back where it belongs, your heart is steady enough to see the road ahead with clarity again. You're not just being sent to do something. You're being sent to be someone. Someone who carries me in every environment. Someone who doesn't shift based on pressure, but who shapes pressure by being anchored. Someone who's been with me long enough to know what really matters. You don't need to strive for influence. You already have impact, because you carry peace where others carry performance. Don't underestimate what that peace will accomplish. It will unlock hearts. It will calm storms in people's minds. It will speak louder than words and stay longer than applause. It will build what lasts. You've asked, what do I even have to offer? Let me tell you, your stability in me is the offering. Your nearness to me is the influence. Your surrender is the seed of revival. And peace is the water that makes it grow. I'm calling you to places where pressure has ruled for too long. Not just physical places, but spiritual atmospheres, homes, teams, communities, conversations, relationships, where stress has become normal and burnout is expected. And I'm sending you in not to fix everything, but to carry something different, to be a holy interruption, to hold steady when others collapse, to offer kindness when others compete. That's kingdom work. And it matters more than you know. You've thought, but what if no one sees it? I do, and I'll see to it that every seed sown in peace bears fruit in its time, even when it's invisible, even when it's quiet, even when no one claps. You weren't made for applause. You were made for presence. And my presence will be with you, so deeply, so intimately, that you'll begin to notice something shifting in how you move. You'll feel less afraid to say no, less anxious when things take time, less panicked when the room's quiet. That's not detachment, that's peace maturing in you. You'll start to see interruptions not as threats, but as invitations. You'll sense when I'm doing something beneath the surface, and you'll wait with patience instead of frustration. That's what vision with peace looks like. It's focused, but not frantic. It's steady, not stagnant. It knows when to rest and when to rise. And when the time comes to step into the assignments I've been preparing, you won't flinch, not because you feel fearless, but because you've stopped agreeing with the lie that fear has final authority. Peace has taken its place. I've taken my place. You've been through enough storms to know that building on pressure always ends in collapse. But what we're building now will stand, because it's not propped up by performance. It's rooted in presence. And from that place, I will multiply everything I've entrusted to you. Slowly, surely, steadily, not all at once, but with purpose in every phase. You don't need to ask me to hurry. I never forget the timing of what I plant. Your fruit will come, your influence will grow, and it will happen without you having to sacrifice the integrity of your soul. You won't need to trade peace for platform. You won't need to lose yourself in order to be useful. I'm the one who sustains the call. You just stay with me. That's your job now. So breathe in this truth. You are still being sent. Not with anxiety, not with a list of tasks and a clock ticking in the background. I'm sending you with peace. Because peace is how heaven moves. And when heaven moves in you, the earth begins to change around you. Look again, the horizon is not closing in. It's opening wide, and I'm walking it with you. This is the moment when things begin to settle inside you, not into passivity, but into alignment. The storm of questions, the noise of comparison, the echo of pressure, they've all tried to linger. But they no longer define you. You've heard my voice again, and that's what marks you now. Not the weight of unrealistic expectations, not the pace of others, not the fear of missing your moment, but the sound of my peace speaking louder than your pressure. You are free, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Free from the invisible contracts you've signed in your mind, the ones that told you your value depended on how much you produced, how fast you moved, how flawless you looked. I break those lies now. They hold no ground in the place where my peace rules. You've waited long enough to feel ready. But readiness isn't what sends you. I do. I send you with truth. I send you with clarity. I send you with authority. And none of that comes from hustle. It comes from being mine. You're not sent by the world. You're not sent by pressure. You're sent by me. And what I send, I sustain. So walk, not with panic, but with posture. Not with tension, but with trust. From this day on, let peace become your signal, your anchor, your filter, and your fuel. Let it speak louder than deadlines. Let it steady your voice when insecurity knocks. Let it become your strategy when the path ahead is unclear. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. Not to me, not to people, not to the expectations of a culture that confuses urgency with obedience. You are not driven, you are drawn. You are not climbing for approval, you are walking from it. You are not behind, you are being aligned. You carry my spirit, and my spirit does not rush. My spirit does not panic. My spirit does not shout performance over your soul. My spirit whispers peace that cannot be shaken. And now, that peace will guide your decisions. It will shape your relationships. It will lead your voice. It will define your impact. You've been sent, not just with truth, but with tone. A tone the world doesn't recognize because it doesn't compete. It heals. It steadies. It waits when others rush. It speaks when others react. It blesses when others perform. Let them move fast if they must. You will move faithful. Let them chase stages if they want. You will chase my presence. Let them applaud pressure. You will be led by peace. This is your commissioning, a holy activation, not into a frenzy, but into focus, not into busyness, but into fruitfulness, not into anxiety, but into authority that flows from stillness. You are my vessel. And from this day forward, you'll move as one marked not by fear, but by peace. And everywhere I send you, peace will go before you, and it will remain when you leave. Amen. Before you go, pause here with me, just for a moment. Let this truth settle deeper than your thoughts, into your bones, your breath, your inner rhythm. I'm not sending you with pressure. I never have. I'm sending you with peace. A peace that protects your yes. A peace that doesn't need applause to be powerful. A peace that holds you when pressure tries to come back wearing holy words. Return here whenever you forget. Save this space, not as content, but as a compass. And if someone else is carrying a weight I never gave them, share this with them. Let them hear what you've just heard. You are being sent, but not by pressure, by peace and by me.